How's it going, guys? Today we're going to be going over another question on LeetCode called Find the Difference. This is a question that's commonly asked by Google and Adobe. Problem description says, given two strings s and t, which only consist of lowercase letters. That's not really a sentence, but anyways, moving on. String t is generated by randomly shuffling string s and then adding one more letter at a random position. Find the letter that was added in t. So we get a string, it's scrambled, we get a string s, we get a scrambled string t, which is s, and then we add some random letter into it, and we want to return what the letter was that was added. So in the example, if we're given ABCD as string s, and then t is ABCDE, so in this case it's not actually scrambled, we just return E, because E was the letter that was added. So this isn't like a super interesting test case, right? It's kind of like obvious, oh, this is the letter that's added. But if we think about like a more intricate test case or a trickier one, this really just comes down to counting the frequencies that each character occurs at, the frequency that each character occurs, or the amount of times that a character occurs in the string. So if we keep track of how many times something like A occurs in S, we know how many times it should occur in T. And if that doesn't match up, then we know that we have an outlier, right? So like if A occurred once here, it should occur once here. So we'll basically throw everything in a hash map because we want to count how many times each letter occurs. Then we'll go through T, and if that thing either isn't in the hash map or we've seen it and it's in the hash map but its count is 0 because every time we see it we'll just decrement the count associated with it, then we know that this letter is the letter we want to return. So hopefully that made sense. If it didn't, I'll kind of walk through it again while we're coding the solution. But first we said we want a hash map. This is going to store a character, which is in S, to an integer, which will be the frequency which with that character occurs in S. Call it map new hash map character mapping to an integer again. And now we'll just go through all the characters in, let's just do S, s.toChar array. So now, right, this is a for each loop, so for every character in s.to character array, we're going to do something. And all we're going to do is we're going to try and put it in our map. So we'll map C, the character, to, and this is a little condensed, but we're just going to say map.get or default, C, comma 0, plus 1. So what this really means is it's saying try and get C in our map, and if that doesn't exist, default to 0. But if it does exist, just add 1 to its value. So if we get 0 back, we're going to add 1 to it. So that's like the first time we see the letter, right? So it'll go in with the occurrence of 1. But otherwise, if it already exists in the map, we'll get however many times it's occurred so far, and then add 1 to it as well. Cool. So now that should populate our hash map. Now the last thing we have to do is we'll do a for each loop over T. So we'll say for char C in t.toChar array. And now we want to do one of two things, right? If the map contains the key that we're on, so if it contains C and map.get C is 0, or the map doesn't contain the key, contains key C, we want to return C. So again, if the thing in T, the character in T, is not in the map, we know that that's the letter that was added. Or if its count is 0, meaning like we've accounted for every other time we've seen it and we've decremented the count associated with it, and now it's 0, that means that this letter also is added. And otherwise, all we're going to do is we're just going to say map.put, and we'll say C with map.get C minus 1. So this essentially is remapping C to its new count. So we're subtracting 1 because we're accounting for the fact that we've seen it, which will help us get to this case. Awesome. So I think that should work, but I think Java is going to yell at us if we don't put a return statement here. So I'm going to just put an exclamation point, but ideally we'd probably ask the interviewer, like, hey, let's say there isn't a letter that was added. So meaning like we never return here. What should we return? So here I'm just going to return an exclamation point, I guess that would kind of be like an invalid character essentially. So line 5, we need a semicolon. Don't forget your semicolons, guys, super important. Awesome, it works. Let's check out the details. LeetCode tells us we passed 54 out of 54 test cases, and we're in the 13th percentile in terms of runtime. Awesome, so that's how you find the difference in Java. This is a LeetCode question asked by Google and Adobe. I hope this is helpful, guys. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if it was. Good luck on your interviews, and I'll see you guys next time.